What really happened in Moscow? 93 drones stormed the capital, towers on fire, defenses overwhelmed, and the truth is more shocking than anyone imagined. Stay with us, because the real story changes everything. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Global Times USA. Please subscribe and like my videos, because today we are diving deep into one of the most shocking events in recent history. An event that has shaken Moscow to its very core. The world woke up to the headline that 93 Ukrainian drones stormed Moscow, targeting some of the most symbolic and expensive towers in the Russian capital. What really happened that night? How did these drones bypass Russian defense systems? What were the damages, the reactions, and the long-term consequences? That's what we're going to analyze in detail today, covering every angle, from the exterior of the attacks, the inside story, the performance of these drones, their safety measures, the unique aspects that made this operation successful, the estimated costs and price tag of damages, and finally, the conclusion that the world must take away from this dramatic incident. When we begin with the exterior, Moscow looked like a scene from a disaster movie. Bright flashes lit up the skyline as drones whizzed across the night sky, many captured on shaky mobile footage by residents who had no idea what was unfolding. The city, famous for its grand skyline, luxury towers, and billion-dollar business hubs, suddenly turned into a battleground. Explosions erupted near residential and commercial towers, glass shattered, fires broke out, and emergency sirens filled the air. From the outside, it was clear that Moscow had never experienced such a coordinated and large-scale aerial assault within its very heart. The 93 drones moved like a swarm, overwhelming defenses and spreading panic throughout the population. It was a clear message: the war that had mostly been confined to Ukraine's soil had now struck deep inside Russia's most protected city. But the interior perspective is even more critical. Inside the towers, offices, and luxury apartments, the experience was terrifying. Workers on night shifts described hearing loud bangs and watching windows shatter around them. Security systems inside malls and office buildings were triggered, alarms blared, and many residents rushed down emergency staircases into underground shelters. The chaos in the interior of these buildings was unprecedented. People reported seeing fire sprinklers activating, smoke filling the halls, and the sound of drones buzzing nearby. The fear was not only about explosions, but about the uncertainty of whether more drones were coming, whether the buildings would collapse, or whether the defense systems would accidentally hit civilian structures in the rush to intercept incoming targets. This interior account is massive because it reflects how an entire city's psychology was shaken. For the first time in decades, ordinary Moscow residents realized they were not safe even in the capital, far away from the battlefront. Families hid in basements, children cried, and some people recorded emotional messages, thinking it might be their last night alive. The interior chaos of this night is perhaps the most significant element of the story, because it shows how warfare has moved from the battlefield to people's living rooms, offices, and streets. Moving on to performance, the Ukrainian drones showcased an incredible demonstration of modern warfare technology. These drones were not ordinary hobbyist models. They were advanced, modified, and programmed to work as a swarm. The performance metrics of these 93 drones proved that they could fly long distances, penetrate multiple layers of air defense, and still accurately hit strategic and symbolic targets. Some reports suggest that the drones used GPS jamming resistance, low-altitude flying techniques, and even AI-based navigation systems to avoid interception. Their performance shocked analysts because Russia had invested billions into anti-air defense systems like the Pantsir and S-400, yet the drones managed to overwhelm them simply through their numbers and coordination. The speed, maneuverability, and persistence of these drones were unmatched, proving that performance in modern warfare is not always about size or firepower, but about intelligence, adaptability, and quantity. Now, when we consider safety features, it may sound ironic because drones are designed to attack, but these systems do have safety measures in their design. For instance, many Ukrainian drones are programmed to self-destructive captured, preventing the enemy from reverse engineering their technology. Some of them are designed to limit collateral damage by targeting only specific GPS coordinates. Compared to traditional ballistic missiles, drones offer more control and precision, which can be considered a safety feature in minimizing civilian casualties. In this particular attack, while there was still significant damage, the choice of towers and symbolic business centers suggests the intent was more psychological and economic than purely destructive. By avoiding large-scale civilian deaths, the drones carried a message that Ukraine wanted to hit symbols of Russian power, not necessarily kill innocent people. This careful targeting is in itself a kind of safety mechanism in modern asymmetric warfare. What makes this story unique are the selling points of the operation. The first unique point is the scale. 93 drones in a single coordinated strike is unprecedented in this conflict. It's not just about one or two drones sneaking past defenses, but about dozens moving together, overwhelming systems that were considered almost impenetrable. The second unique point is the location. This was Moscow, the political and economic heart of Russia, not a border town or a military base. Hitting billion-dollar towers that symbolize wealth and power amplified the shock value globally. The third unique point is the psychological effect. This attack wasn't just about physical damage. It was about sending a clear message to Russia and the world that Ukraine could strike back at the very core of Russian power. The unique selling point here is the transformation of perception. Moscow is no longer untouchable, and the Russian elite living in luxury towers are now directly exposed to the realities of war. When we analyze the price aspect, it has multiple layers. First, the cost of carrying out the operation was surprisingly low compared to the damage caused. Each drone is estimated to cost between $20 to $100 depending on its modifications, meaning the entire swarm could have cost less than $10 million. On the other hand, the towers they struck, worth billions of dollars, suffered damages running into hundreds of millions. That's not even counting the indirect costs like investor confidence, insurance claims, and the psychological impact on Moscow's economy. The price imbalance is striking. For a relatively small investment, Ukraine managed to inflict damage and fear worth exponentially more. The second aspect of price is the human cost, the injuries, the psychological trauma, and the disruption to daily life. While the official numbers are kept low, eyewitness accounts suggest that dozens of people were hurt, businesses were halted, and thousands of residents were forced into shelters. The price, therefore, is not just economic but emotional and social, reshaping how Russians perceive this war. In conclusion, what really happened in Moscow with the 93 drone strike is a turning point in modern conflict. It showed the world that technology, creativity, and determination can challenge even the most powerful nations. The exterior visuals of Moscow in flames, the interior panic of residents, the stunning performance of drones, the selective safety features that minimized civilian casualties, the unique selling points of scale, location, and psychological impact, and the price imbalance all combined to create one of the most symbolic episodes of this war. The message is clear: no place is truly safe in modern asymmetric warfare. For Russia, it is a wake-up call. For Ukraine, it is a demonstration of resilience. And, for the world, it is proof that the nature of war is evolving faster than ever before. As we reflect on this dramatic incident, we must understand that what happened in Moscow is not just a headline, but a preview of how wars in the future will be fought, not just with tanks and missiles, but with swarms of intelligent machines capable of reshaping global security.